Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network, featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events, and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion, and stakeholders' analysis. Now, on the headlines. Imo State, Uzodinma recalls head of agencies. Oyo State, Yoruba Nation agitators maintain stand. Kaduna State, DSS arrests Aisha Galadima over Facebook post. Fraud, more trouble for better Edu. NDLEA, Mawa gives commendation. Power, national grid collapse, Nigerians thrown into darkness. And in party crisis, APC National Chairman Ganduje suspended. In agriculture, £100 million to assist small-scale farmers. We will go on a short break, and when we are back, the conversation will begin.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. To dissect today's conversation with me is Andy Akpotive, who is a social-political analyst and a reformer. You're very much welcome, Andy Akpotive.
Thank you so much. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Okay, straight onto the stories. The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, on Monday reinstated back to the offices the heads of Imo State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Imo State Health Insurance Agency, and Imo State Sports Commission. The governor announced this in a statement to newsmen in Owerri through his chief press secretary, Oguike Nwachukwu. The two agencies and the commission were among the government parastatals, agencies, extra-ministerial departments, commissions, and development centers dissolved by the government recently. Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State, who directed on Monday that the heads of the affected bodies be reinstated, urged the public in general
Nigeria do not essentially make these appointments because they want to better the agencies, the departments, or ministries. No. The appointments are made essentially because they want to give the dividends of democracy to their cronies, to people who worked for them before they emerged as governors, or whatever it is. So every time we looked at this appointment, you must always look at it, from the point of these appointments essentially are politically driven more than driven by merits. Okay, so you were dissolving and you were we ought to be asking the very germane and genuine questions in government. If you thought a person was not qualified, what did you say to the people before you dissolved that cabinet or before you dissolved that arrangement? Did you say to them that the reason I'm dissolving is as a result of corruption? The reason I'm dissolving is as a result of the fact that these people were not competent before they were appointed? Now you dissolve. These are ways of paying, political foot soldiers who once upon a time work to ensure that they emerge. That's essentially what these appointments, dissolutions and reappointments, mean about that. History is replete with a lot of countries that went about it the right way. The most recent is South Sudan, for instance, who had been agitating and saying that they wanted to have their own country, and they did it the way as was or as had been provided by the international bodies. And so if you want to move out of Nigeria, there are protocols, there are procedures. One of it is not, I'm very certain, is not to go and take over the the Oyo house, with guns and military camouflage. That's certainly not...
No, they say that they have followed due process and that they have, in quotes, put themselves written and done everything that needs to be done. Do you quite agree with that?
I'm not aware that that has been done. So have you consulted even with the people, the Yoruba people, and found that the majority of them, either through a plebiscite or a referendum, have said that they want to indeed leave Nigeria? I'm yet to see where that kind of a protocol was conducted in Nigeria. Across even the states that are today called the Yoruba states, from Oyo State to Ekiti State to Ondo State to Lagos State, to Ogun State, and all the states called the Yoruba states. Did you see any time when the peoples, because there are several peoples in the Yoruba kingdom, as a matter of fact, they are the Egba people, they are the Jebu people, when the different peoples in the Yoruba enclave, right, came together to say, oh, we want to secede, we want to leave Nigeria. I never saw any time in this country when that was conducted. So for me, these are just a group of people, I say agitators, who are going about their protocols the wrong way. If you wanted to leave, you have a right to leave, but you must go about it, as rightfully as was spelled out by the Nigerian Constitution and also by the international laws.
All right. The operatives of the Department of State Services has arrested a strong political ally of the former governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai, Aisha Galadima, in Kaduna. The female politician, who was reportedly arrested on Sunday afternoon, April 13, 2024. The arrest was said to be related to a negative social media post about the state's governor, Uba Sani. According to sources, Galadima criticized Sani's last comment against the former governor of the state, Nasir El-Rufai, in a post on her Facebook page. A neighbor said she was arrested in her community in the Tudunwada area of Kaduna on Sunday afternoon. And another friend stated that Galadima's phone was switched off after the arrest. However, the chief press secretary to the governor, Mohammed Lawal Shehu, said he was not aware of the arrest and directed inquiries about the matter to the DSS for further clarification. Now, there are no laws stipulated in the Nigerian Constitution to criminalize the use of social media for expression. Does this arrest not go against the freedom of speech?
So, we are yet to even hear from the DSS if such arrests even took place. I don't like to jump on conversations like this without understanding the depth, the breadth, and the width of the conversation.
But then we have eyewitness reports.
The DSS, they didn't come out to say, yes, they arrested her. The state government, they haven't also said they arrested her. In any case, if they confirm that they arrested her, for what reason? To criticize government, to criticize a governor, has that become an offense? When was it told us in the Nigerian Constitution that if you criticize the governor, the DSS was going to come and arrest you just by your criticizing the governor? You have freedom of speech unless and until the criticism can be termed as a slanderous criticism, a libelous criticism, or a seditious criticism. One of the three, that is, if you committed libel, slander, and sedition, then the government can take you to court and prosecute you, along that line. But if you criticize, which you have a right to because they are public servants, if you criticize and say that they did certain things and you had proof to show that they did those things, why should DSS come and arrest you? So for me, I'm not going to, until I have seen the essence, the full essence of this story. If DSS will come to say, oh, we arrested her on the basis of the criticism that she made on the pages of paper. Once DSS comes and says that to us, then we can say indeed that we can continue to now fight the DSS, because there's nothing wrong with criticism essentially. But if DSS comes and says to us that, oh, we are arresting now as a result of XYZ that is known in law to be against the state, because the DSS is not supposed to be the police. The DSS is the police for the state, and the police is the one that's supposed to do such arrest and prosecution. So indeed, if we found that there were certain things done by her against the states that warranted the arrests by the DSS, then we can begin to see some justifications for that. But for me, today, because I do not understand the breadth of this story very well, I would just say that in my mind right now, nothing can make the DSS arrest a person out of just a sheer criticism of the governor. If they did that, then we are already heading to the doldrums. If we are not there already, we are heading to the doldrums.
All right. At this juncture, we'll go on a short break, and when we are back, Atlantic Blowout continues.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human trafficker.
Honorable
You are a human trafficker.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
back. Joining the conversation today is Barrister Mankitanen Adubabare, who is a legal practitioner and a socio-political analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has uncovered more fraud in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. The EFCC spokesman Dele Oyewale disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, saying the agency had not cleared anyone involved in the ongoing probe of the ministry, which led to the suspension of the minister, Betta Edu. The EFCC said it had so far recovered a combined sum of 32.7 billion and 32.7 billion naira and $445,000 from investigations into the alleged fraud involved past and suspended officials of the ministry. Investigations are ongoing and advancing steadily. The public is enjoined to ignore any claim to the contrary, Oyewale said. The EFCC launched the probe on the directive of President Bola Tinubu following the suspension of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Dr. Betta Edu. Now, Barrister Manki, I'd like your legal perspective on this issue.
Well, I'm very sorry to say, it's not as if I'm a pessimist, as it were. But I will tell you that Nigeria is a theater of absurdities. You know, as a legal practitioner, I say this to people. The end point of law ought to be, and in similar crimes, is justice, equity, and fair play. The core foundation of the concept of rule of law is anchored on the fact that nobody, no matter how highly placed you are, is above the law. That is the essence. That's why you can see things that are happening in a place like America about the former president, amongst others. That's where rule of law prevails. Now, but what we have here, I'm very sorry to say, in fact, even EFCC, of course, you know what a body like Army, the role they are playing now, as against protecting Nigerians against external aggression. We have a situation wherein imported terrorists are having a field day while they are pursuing people who are pushed out of hard economic realities into what I call parallel refining instead of partnering with them to touch the lives of Nigerians. Now, focusing on the law, ordinarily no problem with law enforcement agents doing their work. But the moment the instrument of law is used in a manner that is seen by ordinary onlookers as instrument of oppression, suppression, and repression, then something is fundamentally wrong. And that's my worry. I've had occasion to go to EFCC. If you get to EFCC and then you weigh what is going on there against the realities on the ground as to what is obtainable and what is going on, a body that is supposed to checkmate and do the right thing are the bodies that are protecting, if I will use the word, in fact, what is happening here, they are talking about Betta Edu and the rest of them. It's a child's play. The day that such light will be turned on NNPCL, I call it Global Fraud Headquarters. And I say that with all sense of responsibility. Heads ought to roll, but nothing will happen. We're in a system wherein they will come and tell you that Python swallow money. And that will be the end of it. People have lost confidence in things like pension scheme, among others. The moment they hear the name government attached to it, because there is an impression that you can do anything you want to do and get away with it. I say this to people. If you look at the structure of this present government, take a look at what is happening in Rivers State, for instance. If what is going on in Rivers State is approved by the government of Nigeria, which no one can argue otherwise, then what do you expect? If, for instance, the Supreme Court of Nigeria can validate what I stand, I'm taking responsibility for it. For the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which is not only a court of law, but a court of policy, to validate what I call electoral terrorism in Nigeria. Come on. Anything can happen. So to me, you see, there's one interesting thing about crime. You cannot conspire alone. Do you understand? It takes two to conspire and more.
So are you saying a better Edu's case is a conspiracy?
She's not acting alone. And what is leading to this food dragging? You will hear some form of cover-up. They will not mention certain things. Let them tell us those who are involved, those who are connected. As I'm sitting down here now, if I indicate to you that I paid you 5,000 naira yesterday, it's what is subject to intersubjectivity. Downward. And I went through and I saw the money. And he told me that that money is in that account. Go and tell that fellow to go to the bank to give her statement or account that the money is there. These things are so clear. Look, let me tell you. You see this body, ab initio. The question is, for what purpose was this body set up? Humanitarian this thing. We've been in this country wherein they tell you that they fed our children when the country was locked down and nothing happened. I'm not kidding. I call Nigeria a theater of absurdities. Look, every morning when I wake up, I fight to be intellectually afloat. If not, you will sink and you will suffer depression. Economic holocaust, when the foundation is petroleum product, they can end it in the next 1 month. But they are not ready. The government is not ready. If not, where in the world do you find economic, what do I call it, monster, like the monopoly you find in Dangote Group? Then you set up Economic Council, and you made him a member of the Economic Council. They are joking with us, and they are using the instrument of the law as a game. And I say this to our leaders. Right. They should not think that they are dancing over our intelligence. With what is happening recently, I have this firm belief. If I had died and they told me NSAS took place, I would not believe. That NSAS took place. The day Nigerians will wake up and tell our leaders, we have seen enough. This is the turning point. See finish. Enough is enough. Things will turn around. All this charade they are playing with the instrument of the law, and they are just, it's a form of grandstanding. They are just showing, see what's happening in this country? It's so sad that as you hear this, they are cooking another one that will swallow this. Just like the ocean current turning.
You know that you cannot say that for now because you're not 100% certain.
We are going to hear more from this angle. In the days coming, you will hear more. They will just turn attention to another issue.
Let's wait and see. Have some hope. Have some hope. All right, Andy, let's get your reaction.
If you look at the contradictions and the aberrations that you find in the Nigerian state, they are proliferating so quickly that even the worst of cancer cells cannot grow in that manner. I say the contradictions and the aberrations because even that ministry, there are too many contradictions there. What do you mean by Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs? The first time that was coined, I thought to myself that this must be something that exactly puts the Nigerian state to the rest of the world as what we are known to be, corrupt. What ministry in Nigeria cannot be termed Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs? Is it the Ministry of Health? Is it the Ministry of Transportation? Is it the Ministry of Water Resources? What do you exactly mean by humanitarian affairs? What do you exactly mean by poverty alleviation? What is the intendment of all the ministries in the first instance? Is it not so that the welfare and the security of the people can be guaranteed? That's why you brought all of these instrumentalities to fulfill what the Constitution has said you should do. That the welfare and the security of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. In order to achieve that, you are introducing several ministries, and you have introduced the Ministry of Health. Is that not humanitarian also? What do you mean? So you see that contradiction there. And the second contradiction, growing up as a child, my parents used to say that it takes an entire village to raise a child. Right? If you wanted to raise a child and raise a child well, and you found that child in a community where a lot of people were interested in that child will grow up to become a very good child, right? In the same manner, it takes an organized system. It takes a protocol of, of such gigantic, manner to be able to perpetrate some of this fraud that you see in Nigeria. I worked in the bank, even though medical, for over 4 years. And I worked in the internal control unit. The internal control unit is the back end where we are looking at corruption, we are looking at fraud and all of that. You would know that indeed for if we be looking at it. For instance, the Ministry of Finance must be involved. For instance, to some extent, the CBN would be involved. For instance, the Accountant General's office will be involved. For instance, there are several other ministries, department agencies, and individuals that must be involved for this kind of fraud to take place and be successful. Why are we not hearing their names? Why are they not telling us in details all of these things that they're telling us that we should take it easy, that the investigation is continuing, Nigerians should be calm, like the case of NDDC. I said it when the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration started to say, we are going to do forensic investigation on NDDC. I came the same day. I said, I applaud you for this wonderful, gesture that you want to do. But I assure you that the day the report of this forensic investigation comes out, I will be your first disciple. On Facebook page, go and check it there. It's still there. I will be your greatest disciple if you are able to release the forensic report. Till this moment, I don't release it for you to see. Forensic, they went to call international partners who want to do forensic investigation at NDDC. If they dare release that report, what you will see will shock Nigerians. So they would rather want to sensationalize it like they are doing today, so that Nigerians are, taking a swept off their feet to think that the government is working, the EFCC is working. They are doing nothing by my reckoning, by my estimation. Because if you really wanted to do a good job and not a yeoman's job, you said to Nigerians who were involved in this crime and what you can do to mitigate it going forward.
Okay, Barrister Monkey,
Yes.
do you quite agree that every details of an ongoing investigation should be made open to the public?
Well, when you talk about investigation, right? There are sometimes I take exception to the idea of doing this publicization, and our leaders, very sorry to say, with maximum respect, there are good persons there, but I call them majority criminal-minded, self-imposed political opportunists. They are not leaders. And indeed, and in truth and in fact, I stand by what I'm saying. There are what we call signals that, throw up themselves, and you pick and work on them. And you will not disclose until you get to the root, okay, of your investigation. Then you can make certain things public. You can inform members of the public that, yes, we are on this matter. This is how far we have gone. You give them an idea to keep them abreast. Then you move on. But the truth is this. Nothing will come out. I can say that to you for free. For free. What is happening in Rivers State is backed up by this federal government. Nothing will come out of this. This is just a smoke screen that they are putting up. Have you not been watching things? You are here. At least we are not Japan. We are all here. We are watching the drama that is going on daily basis. As you hear this one now, you say you have told me that we should wait and see. Don't worry. Before this week we run out, wherever I am, you will remember.
Did you hear anything about the aviation ministry anymore? Of how somebody used our money to go and do logo hundreds of thousands of dollars. Somebody overnight went to paint Ethiopian airline, Nigeria airline, and brought it into the country. All of the nonsenses, I mean by use of the word, that happened in that ministry. What have you heard about it today now? You just heard that the president came and said, oh, we are going to restructure Festus Keyamo came and said, if I open my mouth and I tell you people what we saw, open your mouth and tell us now, and I tell you people what we saw in that ministry, all that they did in that, the wee hour to their living, all that they did, if they ever exposed it to you in this country, if they ever did, you will see that Nigeria is just a cesspool of corruption and fraud that is proliferating every second in every ministry, department, agency, and with every individual or a majority of the individuals that are in government. The real question is, this is Betta Edu that came today and we are talking about her. Who is a saint in Nigeria, therefore? If a Betta Edu that just emerged sat less than 1 year and we are seeing this thing, imagine what is happening to those who have been in government for 8 years, who have been in government for 16 years.
And I can tell you for free further that likely certain individuals who felt they would have gotten certain shares did not get what they want. That's why they decided to sacrifice this thing. And then they want to sacrifice her.
That is quite an allegation. But anyway,
it's an allegation, but it's so sad. And right? Mineral resources that are in other areas are mined by their youth, by their God-given talent. It is only here in the oil producing area that they use security agents as well as instrument of law to either kill this, eliminate this youth, or jail them, instead of collaborating with their skill to make Nigeria one of the best places that you can get petroleum products at the cheapest price. I'll shock you with this story. By divine coincidence, I happened to be in the Federal High Court some years ago. By divine coincidence, I was in the court the day judgment was delivered. The crime of that young man was that he went to a popular place in Port Harcourt called Creek Road. There's a waterfront there. The mother-in-law died. The father-in-law died. So he went to get fuel with his red Jetta to go and do wake keep. That was his crime. Civil defense caught him. After detaining him for some time, they now move him and charge him to court. That was the day I met him. The day of judgment, several years on, I came to court and he was discharged. It was a female judge that was handling the matter. What was his crime? That he was dealing in petroleum product without license. By that date,
now we need to bring this back to Betta Edu and the issue of fraud.
Simplicity. What is going on? What is going on? The game that is being played with our leaders over us. If our leaders are sincere and they want to do proper what is supposed to be, the facts are there. Let them do it. When they do it, Nigerians will tell them that we are sure you are doing the right thing. Not selective. You can use the instrument of the law as a machinery for selective application of the law. The moment the law becomes selective in its application, just like the story I was telling you, if you look at it from the other angle, the same thing is playing out. Then you know there is danger along the line, because people will now lose faith, confidence in the judicial system. Go and do a survey. You will understand how bad we are.
All right, now let's move to the NDLEA. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency arrested 50,901 drug offenders, including 46 drug barons in the last 3 years. It also secured the conviction of 9,034 offenders. Brig General Mohammed Mawa said in Lagos on Monday, speaking at the inauguration of an operational facility for crime investigation built for the NDLEA by the UK government. Mr. Mawa said the agency also seized more than 7,601 tons of illicit substances during the period. He assured that the agency had taken decisive action against the cultivation of illicit drugs with its search and destroy campaign on Indian hemp plantations. Now, Andy, do you agree with Mawa's appraisal and the commendation on the successes of the NDLEA?
I was in Lagos when Brigadier General Buba Maru took out the head, you would have killed the body. We understand that in fighting crime, if you dealt with the leaders, you would have sufficiently addressed the problem. But I'm yet to see that the big boys, you know, in this cartel, you know, are brought up, dealt with, and imprisoned. A lot of times you see the ones who are peddling. They're the ones who are. So when you are investigating and you caught somebody who is peddling, the person should be able to point you to somebody who points you to somebody who points you to somebody who points you to the father. How come we are yet to hear that there are fathers, even though we know? Because for this thing to be continuing like this, unabated, is increasing in, you know, in such quantity that can only be imagined. Everywhere, from the north to the south to the east and the west, who are the big boys in this industry? What have we done to them? Once upon a time, we heard about how the chief of police that we used to love that time was involved with drugs. All of a sudden, when the American government said they wanted him, it's drugs, so we have found drugs with him, we cannot release him to America, we have to try him here. What has happened to that trial? Who supplied him the drugs? So, the aberrations and the contradictions in this Nigerian state, I have continued to maintain that they are proliferating at a rate at which the worst cancer cells in the body cannot grow. You know, when you look at cancer cells in the breast, the mammary gland, you look at cancer cells everywhere else in the body, you see how quickly they are proliferating. If you looked at them under the microscope, the rate at which the contradictions in the Nigerian state are proliferating, are growing, they can only be imagined by those who have been in the lab seeing our cancer cells grow. The truth is, until such a time when we are willing to take them away from the prison system, you are saying to Nigerians that not everyone indeed is equal before the law. Until we show to Nigerians that it didn't matter your status, it didn't matter your religion, it didn't matter your tribe. Once you did certain things that were wrong, the law was going to come against you. Until that time, all of this is just going to be jamboree.
Okay, Barrister Mankey, do you quite agree that the NDLEA deserves some sort of commendation, just like Mawa has given? Looking at the successes so far, he stated in that particular conference.
You see, there are things you don't legislate into reality. You don't legislate on economic reform. You don't legislate economic reform into reality. You know, some time ago, a court of law gave a judgment that government should reduce the price of food. Where is their ban where they kept food that they are going to release the food? Welcome to Nigeria. A country where terrorists are imported into the country and are decimating their local population to the extent that foreign governments will supply the names of those behind the terrorism against our people. And government could not say anything about it. They have their names. It's not a matter of the suspect. These are the names of the sponsors of the terrorism in Nigeria that is ravaging Nigeria, that are chasing Nigerians out of their places, and they are taking over. Nothing has happened till today. In my place, I grew up in the village. People don't issue themselves testimony. Very strange. But what we are having here is the other way around. I've told you, when people use the law as instrument of oppression, suppression, and repression, you know something is around the corner. I am a student. I believe in base superstructure analysis. You can't build a skyscraper on a foundation of bungalow. It will collapse. Lord Dennis said in the Locus Classicus, McCoy versus UAC, when a case is bad, it is not ordinarily bad, it is incurably bad. You cannot lay something upon nothing and expect it to stand. It will collapse. That's where we are. So what is he talking about? What is the economic situation? Check the base. Move around. and go to betting centers. It's very sad. One of my greatest admirers that gives me inspiration is a person like J.J. Okocha, which is skilled. But unfortunately, he dabbled into this sinister system that is killing our youth. For a government to give a free way for gambling, then you should know the direction of that government. What do you expect? If there is an increment in terms of drugs, what is on the ground? Yesterday I went out. A Ragoris bottle of kerosene. When did you buy kerosene from the filling station with? Which year?
Last.
You can't remember. The Ragoris bottle, as at early last year, it was around 200 or 250 or 100. Now it's 1,200 naira. And the game of the government, there's a game plan. I've done my own analysis, was to push Nigerians to the point that we will even buy a liter of kerosene, a fuel, for over 2,000. Then they will suddenly, because I think, and this is my belief, the money they stole from Nigerians, they invested it in Dangote refinery. That's all the game they are playing. Check the economic situation of Nigerians, particularly the youth. Why won't they be dragged into drugs? It's not as if I'm justifying it. This thing you are seeing is a creation of the system. Theirs. To indicate to them that I'm aware that people want to leave the house. So what's the next move? It was then they now, I understood that the child has picked the signal. They now try to talk to the child to understand that they want to go, that they will come back, that they should stay behind. That's exactly where we are. Law has been twisted, turned around, and I will call it as an instrument in the hand of the high and mighty. The only antidote to it is going to be popular revolution. That is it. I stand by it. Check it, go and check history.
Okay.
That's the only way forward. In all these games they are playing, and particularly like this economic holocaust that everybody is under. What is the solution? They know the solution, but they don't want to implement it because it will injure their evil agenda.
Oh, all right.
So sad.
Oh, all right. Now remember, the talk is for development. We will go on a very short break, and when we are back, the conversation on Atlantic Blowout continues.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
On the point of order.
Honorable They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
from the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains. Through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. Nigerians have been thrown into darkness as the nation's power grid experienced another collapse for the second time in 1 month. The consequences of this blackout were felt nationwide as electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, struggled to cope with the sudden and prolonged outage. This collapse marks the 5th grid disturbance in 2024. Adding to challenges that have long plagued Nigeria's power sector. The last collapse occurred on Thursday, March 28, 2024, making it the second time in less than 1 month. The latest collapse came barely a week after the controversial review of Band A power consumers' increased tariff by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Meanwhile, despite the widespread impact of the blackout, neither the Transmission Company of Nigeria nor the DISCOs have yet to issue an official statement regarding the cause and the resolution of the crisis. Now, the constant collapse of the national grid is a major concern. What do you think the deafening silence of the TCN and the DISCOs, what do you think of it, Andy?
Okay, let me borrow the words of the man we have come to understand as the Godomigudu of Africa, of Nigeria, Patrick Obayagbon. It is indeed a pity. And we are unable to fix power. I have asked the question. Imagine, for instance, that the power challenge or power quagmire in our country is so terrible that it would take genius to fix it. Are you saying that if we threw good money at it with one good head as the leader of our country, we would not have been able to fix it? We are throwing money at other things. For instance, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, where we are feeding children who were on lockdown at home. Go see the amount of children that they say they fed in Can. Juxtapose that children are not in school. They have proven to us that in the north and in Kano you have fewer children in school than you have in the south. Yet you are shown to us the humongous amount of money that you spend feeding children in school who we were told are not in school. Are you seeing it? Now you are able to throw such amount of money for the humanitarian affairs. But power that is very contingent, that is very foundational and fundamental to industrialization, very fundamental to entrepreneurship ventures, very germane to having a society that is good for everyone. Power, we are unable to fix it. What does this tell you? See, let me tell you, in management we have a principle. When the company board, those who are in management, are unable to help the profiting of the organization, and you enter the company, and even if you found the company as one that is not profiting, it was your responsibility to begin immediately to transform that company to a profiting company. See what Otedola did with his company, his electricity company. Before long, they began to profit. How come the presidents in this country, how come the ministers of power in this country, how come those responsible for the administration of NEC in this country, we are still leaving them and we have not sacked them? How do you say that you want to increase tariff? That is the only way to fix. You see, Nigerians, instead of us to get to the root, the etiology of problems and solve them, what we do is that we are solving symptoms. We are solving, we say that, oh, this man has a headache, oh, let us give them paracetamol, let's give an analgesic, his headache. What is the cause of the headache? Once you fix the cause of the headache, you would have addressed the headache. And it can be as a result of malaria. It can be as a result of an inflamed appendix. It can be as a result of several things. A good clinician, a good doctor, will focus on the causative. Why are you having this headache? Why are you having this challenge? Why are you having this fever? Guess what? We are increasing the tariff for electricity, and our grid, our national grid, is going down. Until Nigerians are ready to tell their leaders, if you are unable to fix these things for which we employ, we did not employ them. For which we elected, we did not elect them. For which we accepted the evil that the system did to put you there. Until we are able to say to them that these purposes, if you did not fulfill them, we are going to march to Aso Rock and march to the National Assembly and demand that you first. And I found what Paul Kagame was doing there. As a matter of fact, the hotel that I stayed, I came downstairs and I went to ask them, where is your generating set? I want to see it. And they were looking at me as though I came from space. I went everywhere in that country. If a country that came out of war, where people were clubbing themselves to death, genocide, came out of war, they are able to do that. What is wrong with us in Nigeria? Every time I imagine that, I imagine the folly of the Nigerian people as how we are able to permit this perfidy, how we are able to permit this nonsense in this country, that we cannot say that enough is enough. As a people, we still take excuses from government that national grid is collapsing, and we have all not gone on the road to say that enough is enough. Then it must mean that Nigerians are a special species created by God.
All right, Barrister Mankey, let's have your take.
Well, if you say Nigerians are special species created by God, is it for experiment or for action?
I do not understand, because as it were, it must look like it's for experiment. Because if we are over 200 million people and we see a few people, less than a million, National Assembly, in the state houses of assembly, in the judiciary, less than 1 million of them are holding the rest of us hostage, and we are permitting it. Then we must be a special species created by God.
Then get this right. You see, in my place, when there is leprosy in the family, in fact, if you raise the issue of ringworm, you will be chased out of the family meeting. Because the incident of leprosy has the capacity to sending the entire family packing from the community. If you know what the implication of having leprosy is all about. That's where we are in Nigeria. It's a funny thing. In fact, let me say this to you. I've come to this conclusion that our majority criminal-minded, self-imposed political opportunists thought that Nigeria would have gone bankrupt, so that the money they stole, they will use it to bankroll Nigeria or borrow Nigeria to rescue it. But it's not happening. So they are shocked. So they are devising, and they are not thinking of our good. They are devising continuously, on a continuous basis, ingenuine method of this evil of suppressing Nigerians. Nigeria has globally recognized comparative economic advantage in the production of crude oil. What global absurdity is that? That Nigeria is importing refined product into this country, then the government is killing its entrepreneurial youth, who they would have partnered with. You hear of a leader that has the baggage of Chicago University, baggage of Ibadan High School, baggage of Chicago State University, baggage of Lagos High School that came into existence.
Baggage of FBI.
Yes. 4 years before the school came into existence, which he used to enter at Chicago State University. That is the person that is leading the country. And then everybody is quiet. Let me say this to you. We are going nowhere. You said national grid collapse. It's individuals that push it down. Look at what is happening. I call it creative revolution that has started in Abia State. Who is the president fooling? You don't need to carry your children on board presidential carrier to visit under the guise of looking for investors. Investors globally are like shark and blood in the ocean.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? Foreign investors have come to Abia State already.
They will smell it from a distance.
Yes. The governor of Abia State says he's not competing with Lagos, that he's competing with Dubai. That at the end of 2024, when he is done with infrastructural stability, of course the first thing he did was light. Economically speaking, that's the first strike. He said when he is done, he's going to open the gateway for local and international investors to come in. I just hope that the state like Rivers should take a cue. I told the governor, time is running. He should go and interface with that man and join the economic revolution. If not, we are going to regret it. And when Nigerians, when we say enough is enough, see, these people are desirable. They are going to push us down, down, down. They are ready to do. How much is a kg of gas? Gas that is enough at Egbema here. They prefer to export it. They say they are exporting this disaster that happened in this Delta State. The young man whose video went viral said the bigger thieves are being protected by the security agents when they do their own bunkering. They mention certain facilities. They know what is going on. Then those of them who are pushed out of anger, when they want to get something, go to the barracks. What are their wives using to cook? It's coal fire. It's coal fire. Right now in Port Harcourt, they no longer arrest these people. They are only collecting money now. Because there is a contradiction going on and they are churning out more. Unless and until Nigerians say, Hooks law says, provided elastic limits is not exceeded, force is directly proportional to extension. And I hold this fact that we are getting down there because poverty, hunger is a common denominator. It does not respect anybody. When Nigerians say enough is enough, we will stop this nonsense.
Because I'm wondering, we have in excess, we have been told in economics that where you have advantage in production, it is easier to produce. So there's enough sunlight in Nigeria. There's enough water in Nigeria. Everything that is necessary for the production of power, we have it in excess. We also have the human resource, which is very contingent to even producing power. Why are we still having these contradictions? Does it not speak to the fact that it's an organized system?
It's an organized crime.
That is ready to continue to push Nigerians down. Because I have been thinking, why are we unable to refine our crude? Why are we unable to provide power? These two basic things, we were taught in economics that, factors of production are land. Factors of production are entrepreneur. Factors of production, capital. Factors of production, labor, right? They taught us this. You have over 200 million Nigerians, youth, that are ready, and the population is populated by the youth. How come we are not using labor so that the labor can help us gain advantage over such countries that have just less than 3 million people, 5 million people, and I can mention a lot of them. Japan, for instance. Are you aware that they do not have one mineral resource in that country? But go see them. The 4th strongest economy of the world. 4th strongest, if not even 3rd. And we have got land. Go and see our mass. How massive. The whole of the middle belt alone in Nigeria is the size of some continents. Right? We have got enough, capital. We have got entrepreneurs. Nigerians are doing well everywhere else in the world, including engineers. Once upon a time, a Batnaji came and said, I'm going to revolutionize the system. I'm going to fix it. Before a Batnaji came, there was a Bola Ige that came and said, what does it take to fix electricity? Bola Ige got in there. And guess what? His head went in for it. We had different ministers under President Muhammad Buhari's administration. They came and said, oh, we are going to fix it. What has happened? It means that there is something that is there that is not permitting us to get it. A very responsible man in the leadership of in the realm ahead of affairs in this country, in the leadership position, should have said that even if I did not do anything else, like Moses said, if I did not do anything else, I must take these people out of Egypt. Who is going to be our Moses that can take us out of the Egypt of darkness? Who is going to be our Moses that can take us out of the Egypt of continuous breakdown of our national grid? Under President Muhammad Buhari's administration, there were several breakdowns. Today we have seen 4, even in 2024.
No, the way forward is that the baton has shifted. Mark this. With the collapse of NSC and TUC and the hijack of the judiciary, I'm giving you this. That's why you must not stop talking. You have to re-engineer yourself, because we are moved into a new dimension now. With the hijack of the judiciary and the collapse of TUC and NSC.
Yes.
Our fate, our future, our destiny
is not in our
hands. So it's a good development. So what we need to do is to change the trajectory and to conscientize Nigerians, to let them know that our future is in our collective hands. And if we do nothing about it, in fact, it has gotten to the extent that our indigenous population are being killed by foreign invaders, and the army cannot do anything about it because of perpendicular order. Because if we are here, there's a division controlling this place, and there's an attack on this building, and